FCC free since 2003.
Welcome to the second episode of the Mercury Morning News. I'm Aisha Asad, your host, and a new issue just dropped. It's our October 28th issue, and you will see it on the green amps somewhere. There's green amps scattered throughout campus. I'm sure you've seen them. So later today, the new issue will be in those green amps, and you can pick up a copy of the Mercury anytime you want just to read some of the stories. So I'm going to be talking about some of the stories here, but I won't be talking about all of them. And if you want to read more, or just if you want to know more detail about some of the stories that I'm talking about here, then yeah, you can just pick up a copy of the newspaper anytime you want. But first, let me talk about the weather. Although, the weather might seem boring, but I feel like it's very useful because I did mention this last time, but just in case walking around, you have to walk a lot around UTD, and honestly, knowing the weather can really help, just depending on how you dress or anything like that. So the weather today in Richardson is 60 degrees. We'll have a high of 67 degrees and a low of 47 degrees. There'll also be showers tonight. And there are some events on campus. For example, tomorrow, an event held from 1:45 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. on the patio, and will be held on the patio on the lawn, and it's for Founders Day. Next Monday, there's also a blood drive from 9:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. in Galaxy Room A, and an ongoing event that has been going on since October 1st, and it's going to end on October 31st, is the I Love UTD t-shirt sale, and it's hosted by the Galestein Gender Center. So you can go ahead and go buy some t-shirts if you want, some I Love You t-shirts. I love you, UTD. No, I love UTD, not I love you. Okay, anyway. Yeah, okay, so the first story that I'll be talking about is Indigenous Peoples Day. And we just did a story on this. It's on our front cover page. And I don't know if you guys have heard this, but Dallas has recently changed in Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day. They passed a resolution. This council member named Omer Narvaez got a 5-signature memo, and a vote was held and it passed. So now it's Indigenous Peoples Day. You'll hear from some UTD students. Well, you won't hear from them exactly, but in the article, we got some opinions of some UTD students about what they thought about the name change. So, for one thing, obviously, Indigenous Peoples Day, the name change is going to affect Native American students. So the Native American population in UTD is about 0.1%. To put that into perspective, that's around 2,785 students. No, it's 2,875 students. Yeah, that's what it is. So we got one Native American student whose name is Lauren Boggs, and she actually gave her opinion on Indigenous Peoples Day. So she said that Indigenous Peoples Day was actually started by Indigenous people for Indigenous people, and that it was a form of protest against the 500th anniversary of Christopher Columbus. So a lot of tribes, she said, completely opt to just throw it out, and they celebrate their own tribal history. And she said that she supported the name change, and the reason she had for supporting the name change was that it was a step in addressing the genocide and ethnic cleansing of the Native Americans that came with Columbus's arrival. And she said that, I don't think Columbus is the representative of American ideals. I don't even think he's the representative of Italian or Catholic ideals, which is kind of where this holiday originated from. I mean, he served as the first governor for the Indies, and during that time, he mutilated and tortured indigenous people. He sold them to slavery. He murdered them. So for Boggs, this name change meant having a voice. And she said that it was a really powerful act of solidarity because it legitimized the protests and movements for decolonization. She also said that she thought the name change would help shift the narrative back to Native Americans telling their own history rather than white people telling Native American history. So I also talked to another student about this name change, and this student chose to remain anonymous because he didn't want any backlash to his comments. And he had a different perspective than Boggs. He thought actually that the name change actually erased a lot of Italian history because Indigenous Peoples Day is celebrated by a lot of Italians as kind of their heritage. So the student mentioned that Indigenous Peoples Day seemed a bit redundant when Native American heritage has an entire month, which is November. But he did clarify that he did not like Columbus and that Columbus tortured Native Americans and he wasn't a good guy. So that student said, instead of changing it to Indigenous Peoples Day, you should change it to maybe Italian Heritage Day or Discovery Day or something like that. Yeah, that's what he was saying. And he said that a lot of Italian Americans really like their spot. So yeah, that's just I guess two different perspectives. Both Lauren said that it was really respectful. Meanwhile, the anonymous student said that it really wasn't. And he said that it was a lose-win situation and because it showed that although Americans are still a democracy, Dallas, or at least the U.S., mainly changes things or shifts laws mainly to placate outrage, whereas Lauren Boggs was saying that the name change allowed Native Americans and people like herself, who are Native American themselves, to have their own heritage and their own pride, and it provides support from the community around them. So yeah, I don't know what you guys' perspectives are on that, but I guess it just shows that there are different perspectives. Of course, it's good to have any Native American people at UTD. Definitely, it's really good to have them feel more included. And the anonymous student did mention that it might make Native Americans feel more included, the name change, which would be really good because obviously we want people to feel included. Yeah, but it just goes to show how there are different perspectives on these kinds of things. So another article that I'll be talking about is an esports article. And actually, I don't know, have you guys heard this? But esports has added a new game team to their roster, and it's called Rocket League. So Rocket League, if you guys know, it's a game, it's like a video game where you play soccer, but you play it as a vehicle. So that sounds kind of funny, but it actually, it seems like a cool premise. You play a vehicle and you kind of like score goals with the vehicles. Like you basically dribble the ball and everything with a vehicle and stuff like that. And it got quite popular. Yeah, basically you drive rocket-powered cars to maneuver a giant soccer ball into the goal. So, in a competitive version, teams face off with a general setup of 2 offensive players and 1 defensive player, but 2 versus 2 remains a popular playing format. So, it's a very... Skylar Sonnevelt Bixler, who is a computer science junior and a Rocket League club treasurer, says that it's a very easy game to play. So if you guys want to look at joining the UTD esports team for that, they have tryouts actually on, let me check, they have tryouts on from October 28th through November 1st. So actually from today through November 1st, there'll be tryouts for the varsity team, and you can find more information in the UTD's esports Discord server. So yeah, the head of intercollegiate athletics, Bill Petit, said that a lot of the esports thing is based off of popularity, or at least like the certain games or teams that they incorporate into UTD is based off of popularity. Like for example, they were saying if League of Legends becomes unpopular and not played, then he could see them dropping the team and adding whatever next game is out there. I'm not sure whether League of Legends will ever really become unpopular, but Yeah, I guess if any of you want to play Rocket League, that would be a good idea. You can go ahead and try this. So next we will be playing a new song. It's called, it's not a new song, sorry, but it was made pretty recently by a band called the Texas Gentlemen for their album Texas Jelly. This song is called Happy Doobie. So enjoy.
Hobby. Those are all the breaks to take places on the solos. Okay. I think we're going band. Scott, before the 4, we go to a G.
All right. Okay. That's really kidding. Yeah, it's just
So I have a few promos. Check out our social media pages across the board. It's at Radio UTD across the board for info on our giveaways. And we do have upcoming giveaways on Twitter for Caravan Palace, these concerts, IDK and KKB and others. So go ahead and check us out. All right, so the next article that we'll be talking about is about a freshman magician. So a computer science freshman magician named Micah Katz. I'm sorry, I just messed up his. I don't know, I blanked out for a second. But I'm sorry, Micah, if you're listening to this. But he is actually a magician, and he began doing magic when he was 13 after he was gifted a magic kit. And so now he's learned stuff over the course of 7 years, and he's bringing that to UTD through the Magic Student Organization. If any of you are interested in magic, you can join the Magic Student Organization. Kat said that he was always interested in magic, and the defining moment that really solidified his interest in magic was when he had a magician at his birthday party when he was little. He learned mainly about magic from watching on videos on YouTube. YouTube honestly has everything. I don't know, I mean, you can learn a lot of things. I like to draw, so sometimes I look at drawing tutorials on YouTube, and yeah, they just have a huge variety. I mean, you can really learn a lot. So that's one thing that Katz did, and yeah, and he was, along with learning magic from YouTube, he was also a camper at URJ 6 Point SciTech Academy. So yeah, and it focused on enriching young minds with project-based learning. So a lot of these things can, I guess, it just shows how diverse UTD is in general. We just have a lot of different organizations about tons of different things, and magic is one of them. And somebody who's a magician can find their place at UTD and teach other people, even if anybody is interested in magic or anything like that. The next story I'll be talking about, and I'll go more into depth about it later, but I'll be talking about the mock trial, and our UTD team actually finished in first place with a perfect ballot at a mock trial, at the latest mock trial tournament. I'll talk more about that later because I do have a promo to do. So just a reminder, audio, tech, and blogger applications for the fall semester are available. You can find them under the Forums tab on our website, radioutd.com. And next, we'll be playing two new musics. One, Hours by a British rapper and mixed media visual artist called Koji Radical, and also another song called Hey 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 It's Gonna Be Okay by the former band Stephanie ISD. Stephanie ISD, their song was actually featured in Until Dawn, the video game.
Make it easy for me. Speechless teachers spoke doubts and reason, respect and treason. I pulled love from a grain of dust and risked it on a night of lust. We stopped our eyes, now locked. You kissed me before I could think of something silly to say. Lucky you slick like new tracks. Who got you laid?
Lost in how you make you feel. Well, I ain't no average flower. Ooh. You can't get no people here. I wonder if somebody called us. I can't help it. You gon' make me lose my mind. You make me lose my cool. Way too selfish, I got used to you. Bringing me flowers, got some making up to do. Baby, get comfortable. Cause I'ma need a couple of hours. Baby, get comfortable. Cause I'ma need a couple of hours. Wonder how your ocean feel. But you don't wanna trouble the water. You can't see the stars from here. I wonder if we watching us make love. I can't help it. You gon' make me lose my mind. You make me lose my cool. Way too selfish. I got used to you. Bringing me flowers. Got some making up to do. Baby, get comfortable. Cause I'ma need a couple of hours. Baby, get comfortable. Cause I'ma need a couple of hours. Follow your company, baby, come close to me. You took me by surprise, can't usually go this deep. You kept it real with me, like you like symphonies. Mirror my symmetry, we make a symphony. You never feel to me, plumb me then move to me. You can have up my seat, just tell me what you need. Don't go controlling me, scribble you poetry. It's on the solar scenes, baby, come float with me. Can we switch positions, baby? I got something I want to show you. Ooh, first thing, last thing on my mind when I go to sleep. I just wanna hold you for another couple of hours.
Sometimes I hit the wall in a fall and I can't stand up. And somebody was all wrapped up inside a pretty bow, a pretty bow. Oh, I wear it on my head, I tie it in my hair, and I go dancing in the green meadow.
All right, I'm back, and we're talking about the mock trial team that actually went undefeated. And so their latest tournament was when they competed at the Bulldog Brawl against 4 other teams from 2 other universities, Gonzaga University and Washington State. So that's the Bulldog Brawl is an annual tournament, and it's hosted by those two. It's hosted by Gonzaga University in Washington. So competitors came from all over the Pacific Northwest and the Washington area. And and our team just came in and swept the tournament and won first place. And in fact, the coach, the mock trial coach, Tony Seagroves, said that he'd never seen this happen in 5 years throughout of like his 5 years of coaching at the university. So they won, 8-0. Winning 8-0 means that beyond winning the overall competition, every single judge that the team interacted with voted for them. So I guess it just goes to show that our mock trial team is really good, and they're having a very good, I guess, would you say season? I don't know. They're having, in general, they're just doing very well this year. Yeah, this semester. A few things I'd like to talk about are some events. There are some annual residential events. For example, like now it's the week of Halloween, and I'm sure y'all are all deciding on your costumes, or maybe you already decided, I don't know. But Trunk or Treat is held during the week of Halloween for residential life and student organizations provide a fun and safe environment for the campus and community to bring their children for trick-or-treat fun. And then, student volunteers will dress up and lead families through mazes of cars and you can just collect goodies and things like that. And another event that is coming up that is, right on Halloween is the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So the Rocky Horror Picture Show, it will be open. Its opening night will be on Thursday, October 31st, 2019, and it will run from October 31st to Saturday, November 2nd. They'll also be doing another. They'll also be doing another small show, or not small show, but they'll also be playing from November 7 to November 9 as well. Tickets are $15, but if you go on Thursday night, then it's free. And also, all UTD students have the opportunity to go to one event, like arts event, that's free. So if you haven't gone to one already this semester, you can get it free if you want to go to Rocky Horror Show. It's at 8 p.m. All of the times are at 8 p.m. at the University Theater. The Mercury actually went behind the scenes with the cast of the Rocky Horror Show. And I'll show you an interview that our staff member, Ethan Christopher, did. The filming was by Chin Lee, Charlie Chang, and Larry Shin, and editing was by Chin Lee and Ryan Maggi. And so let's get into it. It's an interview with the cast of the Rocky Horror Show. It sort of details what the Rocky Horror Show is about, and it also just in general details what the Rocky Horror Show cast members are doing.
The the School of Arts and Humanities is gearing up for a one-of-a-kind performance, just a jump to the left from your typical college theater show. The Mercury had a chance to go behind the scenes of the Rocky Horror Show, UTD's production of the cult classic musical. I spoke with some of the cast to learn more about the show.
So Alyssa, who do you play in the show?
I play Eddie. So Eddie is kind of like a rock god, which is really fun to play, especially since in the movie it is traditionally a male character. It's played by Meatloaf. So
Okay, from Dallas?
yeah,
So you have big shoes to fill.
definitely a lot of big shoes to fill, but I'm growing into them.
Okay.
My favorite part is watching the set being built. We want people to play with us and to riff off of us. So I can't wait to actually have that kind of piece that we've been missing in rehearsals and have that finally, come together and truly be the full show it's supposed to be.
Who do you play in the show?
I play Dr. Frankenfurter.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about that role.
He's a huge character just in his persona and his thoughts of himself. And there's somewhat of an audience expectation of him from the movie. So it's a unique perspective to be playing a role that's so universally known. He's in drag, as you can see. And,
yes, I'm feeling a little short right now.
Yeah, I'm usually about here, but right now I'm very tall. So.
Can you tell me a little bit about the wristbands?
Right, yeah, so we started a campaign to try to raise money for these boys. We are going to have these available. They connect to the central console with all the lighting and stuff, so it'll be a really cool thing to watch, not just from the actor's perspective and the stage itself, but the audience is free to look around and see what's happening. Very cool.
My name is Dilip Merla.
Okay, Dilip, what's your involvement in this show?
I'm part of the ensemble. I play one of the phantoms, which are these really cool, fun characters in the show. But this is my first musical ever. I didn't even know what Rocky Horror is till about a couple of months ago. But then UTD was doing this, so I looked it up and then I rehearsed, and I'm extremely excited because it's an enriching experience for me.
So what's it like coming into a musical here at UTD, what that community is like?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, these guys are spectacular dancers and fantastic singers and great actors, and they are students, and I feel like when I look at them perform, when I look at them sing and dance the way they do, I feel like this is what I see in the movies. They are so good, and it's just every day for me is a learning experience. Just being around them is great for me.
I tried my hand at the Time Warp, the show's signature dance, but I think I'll leave it to the cast. You can catch the Rocky Horror Show on Halloween, November 1st and 2nd, and November 7th, 8th, and 9th. Students get in free with a comic card and are strongly encouraged to interact with the show.
This is one of the biggest roles I've ever played, and it's a lot of responsibility and tough, but I'm having so much fun. I wouldn't trade this opportunity for the world.
Next, we'll be playing a new music by Sufjan Stevens for his album The Decalogue. This is his song. It's 1 in Roman numerals. The UTD volleyball team won its 6th straight American Southwest Conference East Division title at the second ASC crossover tournament of the season. So the team kicked off the first 2 ASC crossover tournaments with a game against Ross State, and the Comets won 3-0. So throughout the season, the Comets have been building up a 13-game winning streak, which is really good. It's the women's volleyball team, and the coach feels very proud of the team, which is very understandable considering they're doing very impressive. They also secured the ASC East title because they got 2 more 3-0 victories against Concordia, Texas, and Howard Payne at the October tournament.
Thank you for listening to the Mercury Morning News here on Radio UTD. To join the conversation, Skype us at IamRadioUTD, all one word, or call in at 972-883-6305.
So our annual Pseudostoria local music showcase is coming November 21st, featuring Fissionary and Yawler. Follow us on social media at Radio UTD across the board for more updates. Next, I'll be playing a song by Adrian von Ziegler. I don't know if you've known him, but he's on YouTube, and he's very good. He does a lot of instrumental songs, and the song is called Prophecy. It's on his album Feather and Skull. He actually recently got like 1 million subscribers. So if you want to check him out, he's on Spotify and YouTube. A new university housing policy has tightened residents' time frame to pick up food packages. This will affect you if you are in university housing. So, perishable food and deliveries can go bad by the time university housing residents pick them up. So that's why they have now created a deadline when residents need to check out their packages. So, yeah, if it's a few days old, your package is a few days old or anything, it's going to go really bad, and so the new policy, you've got to follow the new policy to just pick up your food pretty fast. You probably got an email on October 9th because that said that perishable food packages that are not picked up by the end of the business day, that by the end of the same business day that they're received, will be thrown away. And any non-perishable packages, they'll be kept for 14 days before being returned to the sender if nobody comes to pick them up. That's also in the new resident handbook. The changes are also listed there. So yeah, if you want to read that, they'll have it updated and everything. Yeah, that's about the new policies. There are a few more stories in our newspaper, but I don't want to give everything exactly away. However, I can give you a brief overview. There's a story about a project that uses the method of twisting fibers to cool more efficiently than traditional gas compression. The researchers from UTD's Nanotech Institute and Nankai University in China discovered this. There's also 2 opinion pieces. The Student's Candidate, Why Bernie Sanders Deserves Your Vote by George Cuba. And there's Lost in the Blizzard, One Video Game Company's Intolerable Censorship by Ben Nguyen, who is a Mercury staff member. There is also an article about the golf team, and there's an opinion piece about Syria. Yeah, there's one more opinion. No, there's 3 opinion pieces. One about breaking up the fight, why pulling troops from Syria was a mistake. So yeah, if you want to check out our newspaper, you can go and read more articles. Oh, there's also a comics section. There's Halloween themed comics where you can match each character to a pumpkin. I mean, yeah, you should just check out the newspaper if you want to see any of these. There's some funny comics here about clowns and cavemen and vampire wolves. It looks like vampire werewolves. I don't know. But yeah, there's some comments there if you want to check them out. And there's also a review. There's also a review of a concert by Hobo Johnson at the House of Blues. And there's also a review of an art gallery, or a news piece of an art gallery written by Madison York, our opinion editor. All right. Thank you so much for listening to the Mercury Morning News. It's been a great show, and make sure to check out the next episode. The next episode is on November 11th, the same time, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. So once again, our October 28th issue, the newest issue, just dropped today. Check out the green amps around campus, and you probably might see some members of the Mercury handing out a newspaper out. It's a great way to just be in touch with what's going on at UTD. So yeah, go ahead and look for our papers and grab them if you'd like to grab them. And yeah, that's about it for now. I have 2 more new music to play. There's a new music by Poppy Jean Crawford, Better For Me, and also Not There by Sandy. That's another new music. Yeah. Okay, we have some time before the new music is going to play. So I might just actually talk a little bit about the art gallery that's going on. There's a artist exhibition at SP/N. It's at SP/N, and it's a May You Serve in Interesting Times. That's what the art exhibition is called. It runs from September 20 to October 19th, so it's already gone at the Synergy Park North Gallery. Yeah, and the UTD professor was the curator of the exhibit. So Madison York wrote about that, and if you'd like to check it out in our newspaper, it's a really interesting read, and it has many pictures of the different gallery. Anyway, here are the new songs. I hope you enjoy them, and thank you so much for listening to the Mercury Morning News.
I wanna let you
Mercury Morning News is co-hosted and produced by Kara Santucci. The MMN is a converged product of the Mercury, the student-run newspaper at the University of Texas at Dallas, and Radio UTD. Music credits Ben Sound and PurplePlanet.com.
You're listening to Radio UTD, streaming live from UT Dallas in Richardson, Texas. Radio UTD.